Hello everyone and welcome back to an episode of Gizmo Joe. Today we're going to be taking a look at this laptop, the Lenovo C340, and we're going to be cracking this guy open and we are going to be doing a RAM upgrade as well as an M.2 SSD upgrade. So I'm just going to put those off to the side for a second. Just a little background information about this particular unit. I bought this on eBay used for about 80 bucks. There's about $15 shipping, so all up it was about $100. But it's got a Ryzen 5 3500U APU inside, as well as 8 gigabytes of RAM. Now 4 gigabytes of that is soldered onto the motherboard, and then 4 is in the spare slot. It's got a 256 gigabyte solid state drive. So the intention was I used my Initech SSD enclosure to essentially clone the internal hard drive here, which again was 256, onto the 500 to give me a little bit more space. And then I'm planning on essentially ripping that 4 gig stick out and putting an 8 gig stick in to give me a total of 12. Now obviously the Ryzens do better in dual channel, but this is a what they call flex capable CPU, APU, whatever you want to call it. And basically what it will do is, because there's obviously a 4 and an 8 in there, it will essentially treat 4 gigabytes of this stick in conjunction with the 4 that's soldered onto the board in dual channel mode, and then it will have the other 4 sort of, as a singular. I'm not really sure how it works. If anybody knows in the comments, obviously feel free to enlighten us, but basically, yeah, that's how it's happening. So I figured that this was a pretty good deal. I picked up this 8 gigabyte stick of Crucial RAM on DDR4 on Amazon AU for about 33 bucks. Cheapest I could find it anywhere in the country of Australia, so I'll leave a link in the description for that if you're interested. And then the M.2 drive I picked up way back when I was in the States, and I can't remember how much it was, but I believe there is a newer model of this out. The P2s might be a bit older at this stage, but anyway, doesn't matter. I wasn't using this, so I figured, what the heck, let's upgrade this guy. Now, this guy is basically broken. The screen is busted, so that's why I got this guy so cheap. It's not a new laptop by any means. I think it's a couple years old now, but for the price, it's pretty powerful, and I plan on using it basically as a desktop. I'm going to hook this up to a monitor. It's got USB-C, it's got HDMI, it's got all that good stuff. And for $100, I figured with the upgrades I'm going to do to it, it's well worth it. And I'm basically going to use it with the lid shut and just hook it up to a monitor. I think I can show you just quickly. I'm not sure if you guys can really see this, but basically the previous owner obviously must have dropped this because the screen is smashed. It doesn't come on at all. Basically, when I hook it up to my monitor, obviously things come alive, so it works really well. I've already tested it. It's all good. So like I said, definitely worthwhile to do some upgrades to this guy. Now what we're going to need to do is, it's not super complicated, but it is a bit fiddly, but we need to remove all these little screws back here, and then basically what we need to do is we need to separate the housing here in order to get this back panel off. It's kind of a pain because it's basically got like little clips on the inside that kind of keep this together even when the screws are out, and so it's going to require some spudgers or some credit cards or whatever to kind of jam stuff in there as you work your way around. But basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab a screwdriver. I'm going to take out all these screws first, and I'll just show you step by step how I do this. Anyway, stay tuned. Okay, so just to give you a heads up, basically these are Torx bit screws. So you're going to need a Torx driver. It kind of looks like a star. I'll see if I can kind of like show you a little bit. Let me refocus here. So it's not a standard Phillips head. It's kind of that star configuration. So you're going to need a Torx bit to get in there. But basically what you're going to need to do is we're going to need to unscrew all of the screws on the back. So there are quite a few. There's one in the corner here, one there, one there, one there. There's one in the middle, and then we've got one up in the corner here. We've got one along the side here, another one in the corner, and then another one up top here. And we need to sort of remove all of these first. So what I always recommend is have some sort of receptacle or container. This is my screwdriver case lid. That's obviously I dropped it, smashed it. But I leave that off to the side, and I always recommend people that when they take the screws out of their laptop, because they are so tiny, if they fall onto the ground, good luck ever finding them. They're a real pain. I mean, look how small these guys are. So I always just say, just grab a little receptacle, put them in something so that you can keep track of them, and obviously put them back when you're done. Anyway, I'm going to unscrew all of the screws on the back of this guy, and I'll come back when I'm done. Okay, so I've removed all of the screws from the back of the machine, and what we're going to want to do now is, I'm actually quite lucky because my unit here is pretty busted. So when the guy dropped it, the previous owner, you can see how it smashed the outer casing here. And what I found was that I could easily sort of separate the back panel. Now, for you, if you have one of these models at home and you haven't smashed it all to pieces, you can even see here there's a giant crack in the casing. So I'm going to be able to remove this pretty much just with my hands. I'm going to be able to work all the way around and release those sort of clips that hold this back outer casing onto the back. If you haven't smashed yours, then you're going to need something like what they call a spudger, which is sort of like this little tool here to kind of work your way around the outer casing. Like I said, it's, let me just zoom so you guys can see. We want to sort of separate the bottom casing from the actual bottom of the computer, if that makes sense. Now, obviously, when you haven't smashed the end like that and basically released it, there's all these little clips on the inside that make it really, really hard to pull this off. So you're going to have to try to like slowly work your way around to try to get this outer casing off. And this is where a tool like this comes in handy, because you can essentially pop it there as you work your way around and then move this guy along. So you can get these pretty much anywhere. They're all over the place. Amazon, eBay, whatever. Just search for a spudger. This one's handy because it's obviously has a handle. You can give yourself some leverage. Just be really, really careful when you do it, though, because you don't want to crack your case. Mine, like I said, is already used, and it's already been sort of destroyed and manhandled. But yeah, you just don't want to essentially damage anything on your computer. So just go real slow and just pull it right off, all right? Anyway, when I pull this back cover off, we'll take a look at the inside of the machine. Okay, so here is the back panel off. And there's a couple things I want to point out here. Obviously, right here is your M.2 drive. So like I said, this is just the stock standard one that comes with the Lenovo laptop, and it's 256 gigabytes. We're going to swap it out for that 500 gigabyte Crucial M.2. It's just going to give us a little bit more space, obviously. And then up here, you'll see we've got some sort of like heat shield. Basically, this is where our RAM lives. There's no screws or anything, so just feel free to yank this guy right off. Obviously, we want to put them back when we're done, but obviously just put that off to the side for now, and you'll see that there is a stick of RAM here. Now, it's obviously got these two little arms. You pull those apart, this guy will pop right out. I'll zoom in a little bit closer so you can see everything that I'm doing. But basically, we only have one free RAM slot once we remove this bit of RAM. That's why we're going to be basically running 4 gigabytes that's already soldered onto the motherboard, sorry, and then the 8 gigabyte stick for a total of 12. But it should give us a decent boost to performance, because again, those Ryzen chips, really love. The more RAM you have, the better, basically, is what I'm trying to say. Anyway, let me punch in a little bit closer, and I'll show you what I'm doing. Okay, so as promised, we've punched in a little bit closer to the RAM. As you can see, it's got these little kind of metal arms here, and basically what you want to do is you want to just pull those apart gently, and you'll see this guy just sort of pop right out, and then basically we're just going to yank him out, and that's it. And you can see here it's, what do we got here? Samsung, so it's 4 gigabyte DDR4, and we're going to replace it with an 8 gigabyte. So, while you have the back open, you might want to clean your stuff, particularly your fans. You can see mine are kind of gross, so I'll probably, maybe hit it up with some compressed air or something when I'm done. But essentially, here's our 8 gigabyte stick, and like I said, it's a Crucial, and this is running at, I believe, 3200 megahertz. Yeah, actually, I think it is. So 3200 megahertz for $33. Again, if you're in Australia, I mean that's an insane price. You could probably get it cheaper in the States. I'm actually having a really hard time opening this package, so I apologize. But you could probably get your RAM cheaper in the States. But again, here in Australia, that's probably one of the best prices I've ever seen. I'm finally managed to get that stick of RAM out. But basically what you notice is that the notch is sort of offset, and you can see here that this is longer than this one, so actually this guy is going to be seated just like this. So what we're going to do is we are going to find that little notch. We're just going to gently push this guy down, and then what we're going to do is we're going to push him forward, and those little metal arms will snap back into place, and this guy is in there, secure, totally good. And that's pretty much all there is to it. Obviously, we want to put that heat shield back on, and if I remember which way it went on, I think it was something like here. And basically, it just clips right back on. This doesn't seem right to me. There we go. Bit hard to do this while I have a camera in front of my face, but pop that heat shield back on. Should just clip right on, and you're good to go. All right, so what I'll do is we'll swap the SSD out next. Okay, so next we need to replace this M.2 drive. So normally with M.2 drives, they slot into the motherboard just with one of these sort of black connectors here, and they're held down with a screw. So you're going to need to get a, in my case, it's a little Phillips head here, and basically just undo that screw. And they're usually pretty tough, especially if it's just from the manufacturer. And take that out. It's really, really tiny, so again, make sure that you put it someplace safe. And you'll see that the M.2 drive just sort of pops straight out. And all we need to do is just apply a little bit of pressure and just yank it right out. And as you can see, it's ready to go. So that's the old M.2 drive, and this is going to be the new one. And you can see that the notches are exactly the same, or the keys rather are the same. So just make sure if you're going to ever upgrade, just make sure you're getting the same M.2 drive, because some of them are different. Some of them have another notch over here. Obviously won't work. So what we're going to do is we're going to sort of angle this guy in. We're just going to slot him straight in. You'll notice that the connector here has a little notch as well, so you're not going to be able to put it in this way. It will only go one way. So this guy is just going to go in here like this, and doesn't need to be pushed in very far. But what we need to do is we need to push that guy down and then take our screw. Hopefully you haven't lost it, because it looks like I might have. Oh no, I didn't. It's right here. And we need to pop this screw back in. Probably going to be a little bit hard for me because I've got my laptop kind of vertically, which probably isn't the way you're going to do it at home. But anyway, just screw that down so that it doesn't move. You don't have to go super tight. You just have to make sure that this guy won't move. And that's pretty much it. So we've done our RAM upgrade, and we've done our M.2 drive upgrade on the Lenovo C340. Like I said, most Lenovo's are pretty much the same in terms of the way that they're sort of configured. So if you have another variation, obviously, have a look on YouTube to see if that's the case. But, my older ThinkPad that I got earlier, which I also have done in a RAM and hard drive upgrade to the E14, I think it is, was pretty much the same. You had to undo all the screws on the back, and then sort of use a spudger to get around and lift that back plate off. And then once you did, it was actually constructed almost in a very, very similar way. So if you want to do an upgrade, it's pretty easy. Just know what you're getting into. Make sure you have the right tools. And like I say, you might want to give it a little clean when you have it open. So we've upgraded the RAM up to 12 gigs from 8, and we've got a 500 gig solid state drive in there now as opposed to a 256. So I'm pretty happy with that, and I'm looking forward to firing this guy up on my monitor. But anyway, that's going to do it for today. Thanks so much for watching. Hit the like button, and if you're not already, hit that subscribe button. It really helps me out. Anyway, that's going to do it for today's video. Thanks so much for watching. This is Gizmo Joe, signing off.